the moon, the sun. Who rotates around who? Huh? Hey? That's a head scratcher, isn't it? Something to think about. And I don't know about that. With me.
That one seems familiar.
Wait, it's something to think about on the podcast?
Yeah.
It's just something to think about, isn't it? It's like, you don't have to think long about it. You probably know the answer.
Do you know the answer?
But then you'll have some nut jobs that will fucking say different.
That's true. Yeah, there's no moon.
And the earth is flat, so.
And we
That's
spin.
true.
We spin.
Yeah, and the sun's just a really bright lamp from Home Depot.
There's no
It's like a 200 watt or something.
And no shade.
those
All
planets.
lamp, no shade.
Those planets with multiple moons. They must be fun places, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to look up and be like, oh, there.
Now you
Yeah.
get to visit them all.
You get to look up and go, "There's two." I guess it would wear off eventually.
What a planet. What a planet.
Yeah. We
In
may have no trees, and this may be a desolate place with no oxygen, but check out our moons.
We've got 30 moons.
In my planet, we only have a one moon. Hey, what a planet.
Welcome, Sacha.
I got gigs coming up. Will this be before Hawaii?
It is, yeah.
All right, come and see me, Maui and
August 5th.
August 5th, August 6th in Honolulu. And then I'll be in Las Vegas at the wonderful Mirage
12th and the
Casino,
13th.
12th and the 13th. Come out and see me then. They're always fun shows. I'm gonna be.
Then you're going to be in Tucson, August 26th.
I'm match fit. I just came off a big tour. And then Tucson, yeah, I'll do that one. Tucson, I need to
You're
advertise
going to do
that
that one too? August
Yeah.
27th,
Right.
Agua Caliente Resort Casino
Yeah,
and Spa.
come out to the casino and spa.
Rancho
We're gonna-
Mirage, if you can find it.
Yeah, that's. I'm going to a lot of mirages. Everything's a mirage.
Yeah. All right. And then,
Whenever you see a mirage, it's never got a hotel on it though. It's always just there's water over there. No,
I've never seen a Mirage, have you?
Oh yeah, many
Yeah,
times.
you
Or
haven't?
have I?
It's just the heat line.
Yeah.
Many
I've
times.
seen the heat. That's not a Mirage.
Yeah, when you're
That's
driving.
essentially what it is.
When you're driving out to Vegas, you'll see mirages
seen
all the
it.
time. Yeah, when you go, oh, that looks like a body of water over there. It's just the heat
Like
waves.
anytime you're at
Oh, I
an
just
amusement park on a hot day,
I
there's
just see the
mirages
heat
all over the
waves.
parking lot.
I don't see any hot girl next to a pond.
No. That's the Bugs Bunny fucked it for everyone.
Oh, okay.
He was always like crawling through the desert. There'd always be like a hot thing and a palm tree and shit. There's no palm trees.
No,
No.
It's just water.
just looks like water.
Yeah, okay. And then follow us on Instagram.
I think Forrest really didn't know there wasn't any palm trees.
I thought there was a hot girl.
That was like a delusional thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
even that's like now that I'm married, one of the great freedoms of being married is you can be as hot as you want. I don't give a fuck. Get out of the way.
But hold on a second.
I don't give hot people special preference anymore. My whole
Yeah.
life I've given hot people like, hey, can I pick that up for you? Oh, I'll get that door for you. And they go through life like that.
Open your own damn
Yes,
door.
you don't want to be a hot chick around me. I'm fucking meaner. I'm just like this. Fuck off. Get out of the way. You're bloody taking up space with your stupid bag.
If they're hot, they
Hot
always have a
girls,
big bag.
They've
don't
always
they?
got,
They always have one.
They've always got dumb bags. That's
$20,000
that They
bag.
haven't paid for the dumb bags they've been given that they show off with their dumb bags. Fuck you and your dumb bags. Fuck hot chicks. Am I right?
Yeah.
Hashtag fuck hot chicks. Not like in a good way. Not like fuck hot chicks. Like fuck them.
Like screw them.
Yes.
Wait.
What's the
Doesn't
word?
work.
Yeah, Jack,
Hot-
be careful. You're about to become
Yeah.
an incel right now. So.
Hot chicks be damned.
Hot chicks be damned. Hashtag hot chicks be
How
damned.
about damn y'all to hell, hot chicks?
No, I don't want them dead or anything. Look, they still do a service. I like them in porn and stuff. Like they're still good to have around.
Selling
But
products.
I don't engage with hot people anymore. I used to engage with hot people all the time. Now I don't give them any special preference.
What about ugly people?
In fact, I tip the ugly more. The uglier you are, the bigger the tip.
Because you're like, things have been hard for you.
Yeah, I am. I'm like, yeah, that person needs
It's
a big.
good that you finally came around and saw the light there.
Yeah, I used to you'd be like getting bottle service from a hot girl and you're like, oh, make sure I give a good tip. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And now I'm like, you get no tip. You've had the best life ever.
So what's the scale from hot to ugly tip percentage?
Ooh.
Look,
Obviously hot 0.
no, but you've seen me. Sometimes I'll slip. Look, I've done $1,000 tips in front of you, right?
Well, my favorite one was at the Waffle House.
Yeah, but she was the hottest girl in the Waffle House. but she was still working in the Waffle House. I respected her hotness versus her job. And I thought, that's pretty cool. A hot chick working at the Waffle
She's
House.
humble enough to work at the Waffle House.
She deserves some money.
Yeah.
No, but you had never been to a Waffle. Did we tell us that? No, I don't think we did. You had never been to a Waffle House. And Lisa Curry was on the road with us. Neither of you been to a Waffle House. I'm like, you got to go to Waffle House. They actually cook the food fresh.
Where was
The food-
this?
It was like in between. We were
Kansas.
driving. Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Between Kansas and wherever else we were driving. And might have been in Des Moines, Kansas and Des Moines, actually.
yeah.
So we're in the middle of nowhere. And the food's good. They cook it open air. Like you can see it. It's fresh. Whatever.
Smell it and covered.
But they're all built the exact same. If you've been to a Waffle House ever, there's a counter on the very end where you can look straight down the whole kitchen.
Everything's sticky.
Yeah, you can go straight down the kitchen look. And so Lisa got up to go to the bathroom. We're done with the meal. We got to go to the bathroom. And then Jim gets the bill, pays it. And I didn't know this, but you had tipped her like $200 maybe?
No, $600.
$600. Okay, yeah. It was a lot of money on probably a $30 bill.
I might have been it was a lot of
It
money.
was a lot of money. And she comes back and she goes, did you make a mistake or is this? And then you said, no, that's great. She starts crying and then she walks down and then the other waitresses get around her kind of like comforting her. And they're like, some of them are crying and they're like, thank you. So, but then it got to the point where Lisa still hadn't gone to the bathroom. And me and Drew were just sitting there. It's uncomfortable.
You want to
Bring the fanfare.
Well,
We got
what you want to
tippers.
do is you want to do the mic drop and like
Yeah,
no
and then
problem,
leave.
and then they're like, who is that mystery man? And why was he in a Waffle House? He must be a billionaire.
They probably pool tips, so
Yeah, I made him cry.
They
yeah.
might do that, but then they were like, oh, and then Jim just goes, we got to leave now. I go, yeah, I agree.
Gotta go.
So we leave. And I think Lisa it was like near the beginning when she started touring with you. And she got in the car and she was like, did I do something wrong? Because you guys are in the car already. We're like, we got to go. Let's get in the car. Like, you're fine. Get in the car.
We gotta go. We did a good deed. We gotta leave now.
Yeah, the shittier the restaurant, the nicer the service, the uglier the person, the bigger the tip.
She
I have a
It's a
Zen
system.
so an
diagram.
ugly person in a really shitty restaurant is going to
Who is
make
trying hard, or
million,
someone,
yeah.
Okay, so this
We'll
one,
have to draw it out.
that girl was not ugly, by the way. She was very
She
attractive.
wasn't ugly.
So her tip could have been bigger.
She definitely
Oh yeah, if she was ugly, she would be owning a house by now.
would have been $200,000.
But yeah, her good looks cost her.
You can't have it all,
Let that
lady.
be a lesson to you, people.
Yeah, the less teeth, the better. I'll get that tango.
But I tipped a girl $1,000 in a Denny's, and I've been to Denny's about twice in my life. It was a Denny's in Vegas, and she just had a good attitude. I'm like, there's so many restaurants in Vegas where you'd probably get really good tips, and this girl's working in fucking Denny's, man. And so I gave her a big tip. And same thing, every time I've done this, someone's chased me out of the store to tell me I've made a mistake. They've gone, you've made a mistake.
Yeah.
And I go, probably. Probably shouldn't have, but just...
I've met many. Which
Yeah,
one are you referring to?
Yeah, just ride with it. You know what I mean? But I did it because I saw there was this family and they just left fucking food on the floor, and this girl was just done it and she just cleaned it up with a dustpan, and she was like working at Denny's, and I went, no, she needs a break.
Yeah. No, it's nice.
Every now and again, if someone needs a break, I never tip big in I'll tip the 20% in like a Michelin star restaurant or something like that. I tip properly everywhere.
Yeah, but that's still a ton of money.
Yeah, it's still a ton of money, but I don't do a stupid like, hey, a guy who looked like his life is together.
Hey, you good-looking model that's working at a
But I tell you
restaurant
what,
with $500 bills.
9 times out of 10, you'll get like someone cries at me. But I stupidly once in the Soho House tipped like $200 on a drink or something because someone was giving good service. And the girl was like, thanks for that. And I was like, oh, no, I need tips.
Yeah, that
I'm generous.
You better appreciate
but
me.
I need a little bit of waving your face.
It's a Soho house.
emotion, yeah.
No, they're not.
Yeah, what did I do in that? So yeah, the shittier the if you're working in a Norms, right, and I walk in, just treat me nice because I'm in a Norms and that's my wheelhouse.
Every diner is going to be fighting over you as soon as you walk in.
Yeah,
across the
but they're
states.
not in the.
See that? That's Jim Jefferies.
Well,
He's at my table.
I had a bloke. I was in the car the other day. I was being picked up from the airport, and the guy in the car, he's like, do I know you from somewhere? He's doing that in the revision mirror. I said, I don't know you, so I doubt you know me. It would be rare that we didn't know each other. And he goes, I've got it. You're that famous soccer player. He goes, I've got it. And I went, yep, Manchester United. I just fucking went for it.
David
I didn't
Beckham.
tell him at the end or nothing.
That's such a compliment to be.
He thinks I'm like Ryan Giggs or something. And so I was like, yeah, Manchester United. Yeah, been out of the league for a while. And he goes, it looks like you keep yourself in good shape. Yeah, I try to.
Take me to Shake Shack.
But I did say, he goes, what's your name? I said, Jim Jefferies. Jim Jefferies, Manchester United. Right. Yeah. Because the accent, he just went soccer player, right? So he would have told people, I had Jim Jefferies from Manchester United. But I didn't just play at Manchester United. I followed the whole career of David Beckham. I played for a small time with Real Madrid, and then I played a small time with the LA Galaxy before
Isn't there
I
a Jim
retired.
Jefferies coach or something?
He coaches. Yeah, I met him once. Yeah, he used to coach Hearts in Edinburgh, which is the local Edinburgh team, and then they were like, I was doing the Edinburgh Festival, and they said, "Okay, bring out on the pitch Jim Jefferies," and they were like, "What? You're not Jim Jefferies? What?" And then he came out, and we were like, "What? We have the same name." And then they gave me a jersey with the 2, and he had the 1, and he had the 2, and we both had Jefferies on it. So I've still got
Spelled
that.
the same or
Yeah.
You had the E too.
Well, besides Jim's shows, you can see those at jimjeffries.com. And then our podcast, follow that at IDCat Podcast on Instagram.
Patreon
Or
is
follow
patreon.com/IDCat.
My wife's account, Victoria Beckham, and her new fashion line.
Oh, posh. I have a new podcast too with Dave Williamson, the Merman Podcast. Download that, listen to that. And anything else?
And all merch is up at idon'tknowaboutthat.com.
Follow Arnie's
And Arnie is
Time
living
to
a show
start
in
the
his peas,
podcast or
everybody.
time for ads?
Let's do some ads.
We gotta do some ads.
All right, give me some ads. No one likes waiting on a paycheck, especially when you've got bills due. Good thing there's Chime. Now you can get your paycheck in just 2 days early with a direct deposit. That's up to 2 days more to save, pay bills, and just generally feel good about your money situation. But Chime is more than just getting paid early. It's also an award-winning mobile app, checking account, debit account, and optional savings account. So what are you waiting for? Hopefully not your paycheck. Get started with Chime today. Applying for a free account takes less than 2 minutes. Get started at chime.com/IDK. That's Chime, CHIME.com/IDK.
Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank NA and members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit funds depends on payer.
Green Chef now offers more variety and flexibility than before with double the choices. Now you can choose from all 24 recipes weekly with an option mix and match meals for different preferences, i.e. enjoy vegan one day, keto the next.
So I think it used to be you picked a program and you got those boxes, but now you can switch it up.
No, you can go, I'm vegan today, I'm meat lovers tomorrow, I'm keto the next day. Meat lovers may not be an option. With seasonal produce, premium proteins, and organic ingredients you can trust, Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. Green Chef saves you time by cutting down on weekly meal planning, prepping, and grocery shopping. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well with dinners that work for you, not the other way around. Forrest,
Hi.
you've had meals that work against you.
I get green. I'm a big fan of Green Chef. I think that's why you were.
Oh, right. Okay, that's why. Yeah.
Well, what I've had recently, there was like a curried turkey meatball thing with jasmine rice. That was really good. And then they have barramundi.
Jasmine rice is a good stripper name.
They always have barramundi as the fish, which is like
from Australia.
Yeah, it's a good. Oh, there was like a pork burger thing that was really good. It was like a penny pasta with mushroom sauce. You can get whatever. They have so many different types of dishes, but I'm a huge fan of this. Like it comes with like really easy instructions to read and cook, and then you learn how to cook too. It's awesome.
Well, go to greenchef.com/IDon'tknow130 and use the code IDon'tknow130 to get $135 off 5 boxes. I don't like to swear, but get the fuck out of here. That's a good saving.
I can't believe you swore.
And your first
Someone
box
like
ships
you.
free. That's greenchef.com/IDon'tknow130. Use the code IDon'tknow130 to get $135 off 5 boxes. And your first box ships free.
All right, time to welcome our guest, Calvin Phillips.
G'day, Calvin. Now it's time to play. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Judging the book by its cover.
You sang it, huh? You sang it today.
In tune, man.
Oh, wow. Good job.
Okay. Calvin's got magnifying glasses behind him. Does your specialty of specials, does it involve magnification?
No.
You've got a lot of books that are stripy for no apparent reason.
I think
it's
that's
the
the
shadows.
reflection of
All
the
your
blinds.
books look like you've wrapped them for Christmas.
I think that's the shadows coming in the
Yeah, but
window.
I'm saying what I can see. You've got a globe of the Earth back there, which isn't really round. So are you not a flat earther, but are you an oval earther?
Like the oval is, or the Earth is kind of oval. It's kind of.
It's
It's
round,
not
isn't
too
it?
far
It's a sphere, is it?
not perfect sphere.
Okay, someone seems a bit picky about this. I'm
Yeah,
on a
lean
trail. I'm on
in,
a
lean
trail.
in.
I'm on a trail. Is it about the Earth?
Loosely.
Loosely.
It's not.
Is it about?
Calvin's trying to throw you off. I mean, it could loosely be about, but no, it's not.
Is it based in reality?
Yeah.
Because you could be talking about science fiction or something like that, or a movie. Like,
Well, it is based in reality, but it also is in science fiction a lot. So,
Yeah, there are a lot
yeah.
of movies with it.
It's based in reality, but this topic also is included in a lot of science fiction.
Is it gravity?
Well,
No.
yeah, that's a pretty good one. But gravity has something to do with it too. Gravity works against this.
Oh, is it about my testicles?
That's how you know Calvin.
Yeah. He's an expert. That's
He's a
why
testicle doctor.
That's
You
why,
can recognize
he's
him.
got that magnifying glass.
Here, do you want me to give you a hint?
I've already got it.
Okay, yeah, you want a
Okay,
hint?
give me it.
Okay. 5, 4.
Is it about NASA?
Yeah, it's close. 3.
What
2.
About
Very
rockets?
close.
rockets.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a rocket scientist.
So you're a
Rocket.
rocket man.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah, you're covering up
Oh,
rocket
sure.
rodeo.
Calvin Phillips is a rocket propulsion engineer at Firefly Aerospace. He has previously worked at NASA, the Aerospace Corporation, and the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory. He graduated with a master's in aeronautical and astronautical engineering from Purdue University and a bachelor's in aerospace engineering from Georgia Tech. Space is his passion. 2 episodes back.
How do
Space
you
is his
ever make fun
passion
of Jim for reading?
and has always dreamt of building vehicles to get us there. You can find him on Twitter at Cal D. Phillips Jr. So it's CALDPHILLIPS JR. I get all the hard stuff right,
Yeah.
and I get the wrong stuff. Yeah. Anyways, Calvin, thanks for being here.
So, Calvin, do you use the joke all the time that it is rocket science? Like when people say, oh, it's not rocket science, you go, it's not like this is oh, wait a minute, it is. Do you do that? I would do that
I
all
don't
day.
personally use that joke, but people always make that joke referring to me all
Right.
the time.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a rocket scientist. Yeah, that would be good. Is it as difficult as brain surgery?
No, it's harder.
Is it? Is rocket science harder than brain
Oh, yeah.
surgery?
Oh,
How do you
absolutely.
know how many brains you done surgery on? I'd
I've
say-
done rocket surgery, so
Yeah, but like a brain with a scalpel and all that type of stuff. I don't know. What do I have? Are you so smart that I'd have you as my phone a friend on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
no, I'm pretty bad at trivia.
Oh,
So
well, there you go.
Only about rockets. Only if the question was about
Very
rockets.
specific.
All right.
yeah.
You'd be like, I had my phone in front of Calvin. This is about geography.
Yes.
No phone in front. Okay, so we're gonna ask Jim some questions about rockets. And at the end of those questions, you're gonna grade all of his answers on the accuracy, 0 through 10. 10's the best. Kelly's gonna grade him on confidence. I'm gonna grade him on et cetera. We're gonna add those all together. 0 through 10, rocket mortgage. You know what that?
Mhm.
I don't think it's a good mortgage. I don't know. 11 through 20, pocket rocket.
Mhm.
Oh.
21 through 30, Elton John.
Yeah, he's a rocket man.
Yeah, I know.
You wouldn't have put him into space, though. I don't reckon he would have lived. I
He's
don't-
still alive. You could put
Yeah,
him in
no, but I
space
don't
now.
think he would have been a person you could have put in space.
I think right now, at his age, you could test him. see if
He's
he
got
can
a
make it up there.
pacemaker. He can't go up there.
That's the thing, though. Can people with pacemakers make it to space? Throw it
Oh,
First question.
I love when they do. I love when they do those tests. What are we setting John Glenn up again for? See what it's like for old people. It's like it's a publicity stunt. No, we're doing tests on old people.
All right, here we go.
Check his vitals.
What is the definition of a rocket?
That's an interesting question. It is like what is the definition of a rocket? I'd go it's a rocket-like thing. A rocket needs to have a propulsion on it that shoots it upwards into the air. A rocket involves gasoline and fuel and all that type of stuff. It needs to be fueled. You can't just go like you get Nerf rockets where you just a bit of air and the thing shoots out. I think that a proper rocket needs a jet propulsion type of engine on it.
Okay. What are rockets used for?
Well, for fun, if you're like talking like fireworks and stuff like that, just for a bit of fun. Otherwise, to bomb other countries or to get up missiles and rockets. Now that's going to be a big debate if they're the same thing.
I think it's
But
gonna be a big debate.
I believe a missile is a rocket.
Uh-huh.
Rockets will take you up into space and they'll shoot you up into the sky. And the rocket propulsion isn't the actual spacecraft. It's the thing that gets you up into the atmosphere.
Okay. What is rocket science's proper name?
Rocket science proper name would be aeronautical inner space propulsion.
Okay. Where and when did rockets originate?
The first ever rocket would have been the Russians would have done something and they would have taped the chimp to the side of it with fucking gaffer tape just to see how it went or something like that. I would have said the Russians invented rockets.
Where do they get the chimps in Russia, huh?
Well, okay, where do rockets really come from?
Yeah.
Watch Ancient Aliens, man. He fucking knows. The aliens came down, we stole their technology, the Nazis tried to improve it, blah, 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 blah. Here we are, rockets. But without aliens, we wouldn't have rockets.
Why are fireworks relevant when discussing rockets?
Because they're little tiny rockets.
Okay.
And so you start off with that. That would be your first, that's like when you experiment on a mouse to see if that medicine will work on humans. You start off with a firecracker and you work your way up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Isaac Newton came up with 3 laws that govern our world. These laws are the laws of what?
You know this.
Yeah.
You know this.
The laws of, it's not the theory of relativity, the laws of
Yeah.
relativity.
Relativity you're going to go with?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's the fucking, what goes up must go down.
Uh-huh.
Always be nice to people.
Uh-huh.
And don't eat meat on Fridays.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I think you got it. What's the difference between velocity and acceleration?
Acceleration is how fast and how much you're ramping up. Velocity is the G-forces coming back onto you.
Okay. How fast do rockets go? We'll break it down. First stage and a second stage. How fast do you think they go? First stage.
700 miles an hour.
You can do kilometers,
700 miles an hour.
700 miles per hour. Second stage.
1,000 miles an hour.
Okay. What is propulsion?
Propulsion? Fucking hell, I'm going to sound dumb on this one.
You've-
Julia, do you know?
You've said it a billion times already.
You kept saying propulsion.
My friend, yeah, I know, but I don't know how to explain these things. My friend Julie's here. She didn't know about the topic either. What's propulsion?
I would think it would be something where there's like a chemical reaction or something that has to happen.
You're worse than me.
Okay. I did go to Arizona State. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you were going. I did go to aeronautical school.
Aeronautical inner
I do have a
space.
PhD. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Inner space propulsion.
No, propulsion. Propulsion.
What are you doing with your shoulders? Right now?
Yeah, it's like
He's propulsing them.
yeah, it's how much you go up.
Okay. I'm gonna jump to this question because this makes more sense to ask. What are propellants, and are they liquid or solid?
Repellents.
Propellants. Like
Propellants.
Repellents or whatever cologne Jack used.
Propellants. What are propellants? Are they liquid or solid?
They are liquid.
What are they?
They're the fuel that goes into the engine to make it go up.
Okay. When scientists are speaking about propulsion, what does V stand for?
V?
V.
The means
V.
the
Like the
V like Victor.
The letter V.
velocity.
Okay. What is thrust?
oh no.
No, thrust is when you go up a gear.
Okay. What are payloads?
It's what you get paid when you're rocket science. Look at fucking Calvin. Look at him living it up.
You want me to ask you more questions? Or are you good? What is an orbital period?
It's once a month.
I just saw that.
Once a month, you got to put a towel down.
That's what it sounds. How does a rocket stay in orbit?
Well, there's no gravity up there, man. They're in space, dude.
So,
How the fuck do you think it stays in orbit?
I don't know the answer to this.
Just put the question back on
Yeah,
there.
it goes up into space and it floats around a bit, man.
Who is, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Laika? Is that how you say it, Kevin?
Laika, I think.
Laika?
Yeah,
Laika.
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 Laika Waititi.
Maybe.
Great director.
Yeah. Yeah, he did Thor.
Yeah.
Laika. Laika's the godfather of rocket propulsion, and he invented the Simtac mode.
What are rockets made out of?
Oh, metal, not wood.
Not wood is a good answer.
No wood. There'd be some rubber seals in there that would be special NASA stuff. That's why the rockets on the Challenger, the seals weren't right, and the temperature was too cold.
Okay, we got a couple questions.
I just got a point. I just saw his eye. I just got one point.
We got a couple questions left here. For a rocket to leave the gravitational pull of Earth, it needs to reach a very special speed. Once it reaches this speed, the gravity of the Earth can no longer pull it back, and it can boldly go off into space. What term is used to describe this special speed?
Terminal velocity.
Oh, that sounds right.
Yeah, I think
There was
so.
a movie. Yeah.
In
This is good.
1977,
Jim has a cheerleader.
in 1977, 2 identical space probes were launched, which are now the farthest away from Earth that man-made objects have ever gone. What are they called?
Hubble and bubble.
Last question. What is the difference between a rocket motor and a rocket engine?
A rocket motor
Yeah.
is just a jet type of propulsion engine, and a rocket engine, like a jet, and a rocket engine involves moving parts.
Okay. Hey, Calvin, how did Jim do? 0 through 10. 10's the best. And it's
Pretty
for
good.
rockets.
You know,
Oh no.
I'd give him probably like a 6.5 out of 10.
Fuck yeah!
Wow.
What?
That's really
Yes,
good.
he's pretty close. Like he's in the right ballpark. So I feel like there's a lot of half credit here.
Is there, well, I don't want to ride in any rockets you make then if you
Yeah,
think that you got 6.5.
My brother always, it's very hard when you get asked these questions because you don't need to know all this stuff,
Yeah.
right? You don't
Yeah,
need
sure.
to know it. You got Calvin to know it, and I
Yeah.
know about other things that are useless.
Yeah.
But my brother always goes, I can't believe how little you know. I'm going to go on the book. And then Forrest always rolls his eyes at me like I'm a moron. And it's like, it's hard.
There's a lot of
I don't roll my
pressure.
eyes at you. I know
Did
these
you
are-
know these answers?
No, I just said it. I said it out loud. I said I didn't know most of these. So, I mean, I don't claim to know these, but it's not my job on this show to know these. So.
Yeah, but I know everything about the North Sydney Bears from 1990 to 1994.
Great. Okay. So
Very specific.
I asked Jim what the definition of a rocket is, and he goes,
We didn't grade him.
"Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We still gotta
6.
go, right?
What do you get for confidence? My bad.
I'm gonna give him a 6 for confidence.
I don't know how to do this show anymore. I'm just gonna make you Elton John. whatever score we need for you to be
Completely
Elton
off
John.
the rails.
Feel bad.
Mm.
What is the definition of a rocket? Jim said a rocket needs that propulsion that shoots it upwards into the air and involves gasoline or fuel. So that's, you probably got a point there because you're being nice, right?
Yeah, I thought he was pretty close. Because a rocket is really just anything that uses combustion in order to go up. Like it's very broad and open of what's kind of considered rocket, because rockets can be like, these little tiny things you can buy from the hobby store, or they can be these massive things that can take you to Mars. So it's a pretty big scale of what you can call a rocket.
So you know those pranks when people like sit on a chair and then the chair explodes and they fly up? Would that be considered a rocket?
No,
Mm.
that's not a rocket.
Damn.
I used to make those rockets when I was a kid. You made them out of there was like a tube and there was like a little engine, like a little,
Mhm.
and then you'd have to put these balsa wood, you'd have to glue the fins or whatever on there. And I'd always do mine wrong. It'd always go straight in the ground. Like mine, I kept doing them. Did you have those in Australia when you build the rockets? And
No.
you're missing out.
Yeah.
Find
fun
that on
stuff.
Amazon. Hold on.
Start with guns, you end with rockets.
What are rockets used for? For fun, to bomb other countries, to get up into space. And he said that's going to be controversial, missile and rockets.
Yes.
I don't know what side do you land on.
Our missiles, rockets. I believe that the missile now is a rocket.
It just kind of depends on what planet it lands on, and what's the intention. I think a missile is probably a kind of rocket, but when you're talking about rockets, it's probably kind of kind of exclusive from that term.
But you could work like on the dark side, couldn't you? Like I know you're doing spacey type shit, but if they offered you more money, you could do the. If Putin called you, you could help. that one
We
side
do
of
call
it.
it selling out in my in my field. If you work for the defense industry.
But you said rockets have to go up, so there could be a missile on a plane going down, right?
Yeah. I mean, a missile does start going up at first.
So it's like
Yeah,
all,
okay,
all
but if
missiles
I-
are
if-
rockets, not all
if
rockets
I-
are
are
missiles.
missiles.
If I
Yeah.
hold
Yeah.
a firework and light it and I'm holding it upside down, it shoots down the ground. Is that still a rocket?
Well, the intention. I think there's an intention.
User error.
Intent matters.
Yeah, user error.
Intent.
So rockets are used for fun? What are they used for?
So rockets can be for fun. I mean, just like you were talking, you can build like the little hobby rockets, and that's still considered a rocket. If you want to make money building rockets, you can use them to go up to the edge of space and just kind of like touch there for half a second before it falls back down, or you can send stuff into orbit, which requires a much larger rocket, or go to space. Like
Can you get things delivered by them, or the drones? Like, do you look at drone technology and think, oh, that's all flashy? I like to have a rocket that's really you can't control.
A package delivered by rocket?
I would love to see point-to-point delivery for cargo using rockets. And the Air Force has given a lot of money to concepts to deliver stuff like that across the globe using rocket technology. So it'll probably be used.
That's the new
That would be interesting.
Soup spilled everywhere.
It's really hard to convince other cities to let you land a rocket. When it's kind of
Houston be up for it, right? You could do it at Houston.
For a celebration after a basketball game.
Well, they've got NASA there. They got rockets there.
Yeah.
They got the
Florida,
Houston
right?
Rockets.
Calvin's in Austin, so you could shoot one
Yeah,
over
you
here
could
somewhere.
shoot one over to Houston. Houston would dig it.
yeah,
The whole thing,
probably
man.
too much.
Yeah, because I remember when the SpaceX launched here, we remember in the sky, it was
Yeah,
like,
we all freaked
we're
out,
being
man.
attacked.
Yeah, no one told us about SpaceX. There should have been more going on with that.
Some flyers on telephone poles.
Yeah, just like, we hear that warning rah, 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 on your phone, some kid's been kidnapped. And they're, good, the Amber Alerts. Give me an Amber Alert for a rocket so I don't fucking think that the Koreans... It was right at the height of North Korea threatening to bomb us. And we just saw a rocket in space, like going, and we're like, that's us done. No one told anything. Oh, Elon Musk is dicking around. Oh, okay. I didn't know he was dicking around today. I'll stop freaking out.
What is rocket science's proper name? Jim said aeronautical interspace propulsion.
You were so close with the aeronautical. So I feel like I gave you like half a point for that. Astronautical engineering is the like really specific. Like if you want to be nitpicky about it, that's like probably the proper term.
So what's
the better like general term is like aerospace engineering.
What's the degree you have to get?
Aerospace engineering usually covers most of it, and then once you get into aerospace engineering, you kind of deviate between aeronautical, which is like the planes and drones, and there's astronautical, which is spacecraft and rockets.
Oh, okay.
And then where and when did rockets originate? Jim said someday with the Russians, they taped a chimp to the side of it, or ancient aliens came down. You know what he's talking about. Nazis.
They both seem right.
So we kind of credit the first rockets from the Chinese back in like 1100 AD.
They're good at inventing shit, aren't they? The virus.
1100?
Yeah, we give them the credit for that because they invented fireworks, and fireworks is essentially a rocket because it's using solid fuel in order to go up.
Their first rocket was just like 5 men standing underneath it with sticks, making it pop up and down.
Wait, they had fireworks in 1100?
They did, yeah. The Chinese had fireworks for a very long time.
How else would they celebrate the 4th of July?
Oh, yeah, true.
Ew.
But the first liquid rocket didn't show up until about the 1920s with Robert Goddard. And then the Germans built the first like big rocket that actually, well, that's more of a missile, but the first rocket during like World War II was considered the V2, and that was built by the Nazis.
You did mention Nazis, so
Right,
there you
the
go.
Nazis always come up with shit, man. Did you like when there was that weapon of mass destruction? They kept on showing us like just pictures of Saddam Hussein, like he was putting together IKEA furniture all around him. Like, don't make me put this together, like that. And then it turned out there was nothing. And then you see like North Korea has those rockets that I think are just hollow that they put on the back of a truck and just drive around. Are they real? The ones that we see in North Korea that are on
Well,
the back.
they launch rockets. They launch them into the.
I feel like they show us a couple of hollow ones.
It's just
No,
like,
but they launch them into the sea
Set
there all the
props.
time. They're always doing like tests.
Some of them could be fake.
All right. So Superman 4, right? Where Christopher Reeve as Superman decides to rid the world of nuclear weapons, right? And so he's getting all the rockets. You've seen the film, and he gets a big net into space.
He puts them in a net. Yeah.
Yeah, he puts them in a net and he spins them all around and he throws them into the sun, and that makes a guy that's more powerful than him. Like, it was a bad move, right? But it seemed like in that film that people were shooting these nuclear weapons all the time, and Superman had to intercept one every day. And is that happening?
No, that's not happening.
Okay, good.
Which is good.
Thank
what a
God.
relief.
So fireworks are relevant because of the Chinese, that they invented them first. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. They that's a specific type of rocket called a solid rocket propellant.
Have you seen Superman 4?
Yeah, I've seen the
Of
Christopher
course.
Reeves.
Yeah, you have to see
Christopher
that one.
Reeves.
And it had a blonde guy that I bet he fucking rakes it in at Comic-Con, that cunt.
The guy, he was the villain.
The flaming guy, yeah, he had
Yeah.
like 2 words.
Wait, how did he turn into a villain again?
What they did was they put a bit of his DNA that they got from a museum. They got a bit of Superman's hair, and they cut the DNA. Lex Luthor comes in and cuts the DNA. He does it with the guy out of Two Guys a Girl, 2.5 Guys.
Two and a Half
Two and a Half Men.
2.5 Men, yeah, 2.5 Men.
John Cryer.
John Cryer plays Lex Luthor's nephew, and he's like a Californian, like, "Whoa, Uncle, what are we doing?"
Oh my
And then he
God.
gets like the hair, and he puts it in a box, and he sends it just to fucking the sun. I can't remember. There's a hole in my story there. I don't know how, but Lex Luthor gets a little outfit, a little tiny doll's outfit, and a strand of Superman's hair into a box. And somehow, this is the bit where I'm missing. Somehow he gets that to the sun. So you just have to, that's just happened. It's just sitting in the sun.
Okay.
And then Christopher Reeve Superman, right? He collects maybe 70 nuclear weapons in a net, and then he swings them like the Olympic hammer, and he throws them into the sun, and then that explodes, making a chain reaction where the hair from Superman fuses
Oh
with a
my
little
God.
outfit that hasn't burned up yet,
Yep.
and it makes a guy, and he's like flame guy, and he just goes, "Wah!"
Why
and
wouldn't that be
flies down-
Rocket Man?
Flies down to Earth.
So Isaac
I never
Newton.
saw this.
Isaac
Neither.
Newton came up with 3 laws that govern our world. These laws are the laws of what? You said relativity, being nice to each other, and something else.
I don't know.
So what are we
It's
doing?
the laws of motion. It's
Oh.
the 3 laws of motion.
Motion. And what are those 3 laws of motion?
More cushion for the pushing. That would be one of them.
The first one is essentially
Slap
just
it and ride the
describing inertia.
wave.
The first one is
So
what?
first one's like object in motion stays in motion. The second one is force is equal to mass times acceleration, and the third one is every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
So what goes up must come down. I was pretty close on that one.
It's kind of
The concept.
the concept's there. Yeah.
Is that true though? Because I feel
Uh,
like you put things into space and they never come back down.
Not necessarily. You can. So this actually goes to one of the other questions about what that special term was called. If you can go
yeah.
fast enough.
The special
Yeah.
speed, he said, was terminal velocity.
Yeah. Not terminal velocity, it's the escape velocity. So you can if you go fast enough, the Earth can't. You're going too fast that the gravity can't really affect you anymore, and you just leave the sphere of influence of Earth. and
So
just
is
travel
one of
off
our
the
problems
sphere.
with visiting other planets that have more gravity? Like I believe Jupiter has more gravity, right? Because it's big or some shit, right? And
Yeah, it's
so
pretty big.
so we can't. Could you get a rocket to take off again from Jupiter, or would you be out there stuck in that gravity?
Well, you can design anything.
But can you do it?
Well, technically, no. If you want to be like very specific, Jupiter's actually just a giant ball of gas, so like you can't actually land or take off from Jupiter.
Well, not with that attitude, no.
But it would be very difficult to try and build a rocket to do that. I would wager probably not possible with today's technology to leave that gravity well if you were just like sitting on the surface.
Do you believe aliens are involved with our technology in any way?
No, I do not.
Well, I thought we had an expert.
What's the difference between velocity and acceleration? Jim said acceleration is how much you're ramping up. Velocity is the G-force coming back at you.
So velocity is how fast your position changes, and acceleration is how fast your velocity changes. You actually had it mixed up. The acceleration is that G-force that people are talking about.
Like that.
Because you can be in a train. The train is going to be going, I don't know, 60 miles an hour, but you don't feel any force. It's like a normal day for you sitting in the train.
Yeah.
Because it's going at a constant speed. But as soon as the train starts changing its velocity to stop suddenly, you're going to be like jerked forward because that's an acceleration on you.
I always think that with roller coasters, it's like they should stop telling us how many miles it gets up to. Like you're in the line, they go, this roller coaster hits 67 miles an hour. And I'm sitting next to me, son. I went, we came here faster in the car.
Yeah, they should tell you the G-forces.
Yeah, the G-force is like, I'm going 60 miles an hour. I'm like, woohoo.
Going 80 down the 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so I asked Jim how fast rockets go. He said first stage 700 miles an hour, second stage 1,000 miles per hour.
So no, you're really low. This first stage, and
I'm talking about the original rocket.
In 1100.
Well, if you're trying to go to space, which you have to go very fast in order to get into orbit, the first stage has to go about like 6,000 miles an hour, and it'll detach from the second stage, and then the second stage will ignite and keep going. And that second stage at its max speed to get into orbit is going to be like 17,000 miles an hour.
Oh.
That's really fast.
Yeah, you wrote here Mach 22 times the speed
And
of
how
sound.
long does it take
Dang.
for the astronauts to get used to that? Because you see them in movies, and like, how long does it take?
Well,
Do they ever hit like that train?
How does their body not just collapse? That's what I always wanted.
So we rate rockets. Human rated rockets are a special type of thing that you do because we're not some rockets that just send the probes up. Like we can exert G's onto those spacecraft up to 6, maybe 10 G's, and that's fine. But you don't really want to put a rocket under or a person under 6 to 10 G's. You want to keep that lower where the acceleration isn't nearly as harsh, so they're closer to maybe 4 to max 6. So they're just being pushed into their seat, but they're not going to black out from it.
Oh.
Yeah, because I just saw Top Gun. They black out at what, 10?
Yeah.
10 G's?
Yeah, something like 9 or 10.
That's
It's a
accurate.
documentary.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would just think your bones would collapse. At
Like your
Mach 22.
organs would.
Explode
Yeah.
from compression.
Yeah.
Well, you sit the way you sit in a rocket, your back you're basically facing straight forward. And it's not like you're sitting in a chair and you're going up. You're actually like laying down and going forward.
Yeah.
So all of that force is on your chest, which you can handle a lot better than if it's like through
Coming
your spine.
down. Okay, that makes sense.
Could you eat
through the
while you're doing
spine.
that? Could you put food in your mouth?
No, it would be very uncomfortable. I mean, like your arm weighs 6 times more than it normally does, so that's really hard to move.
Jack's just lifted up his arm to weigh it. He's like, how heavy is this? 6 times more than this.
There's actually a great scene in First Man where Ryan Gosling, they go up in space and their spacecraft starts spinning out of control, and it keeps spinning faster and faster, and you end up exceeding like a crazy amount of G's, and he's like barely like lifting his hand, and then it just like flies backwards because of how many G's is being pulled while it's spinning out of control. The guy to his right ended up passing out, and he had to figure out how to stop it so that it didn't pass out and die in space.
Oh, so
Which is the
passing
thing
out
that
is not
happens.
ideal. I would rather
Not
pass
ideal.
out just to miss the
but
stuff, but then you
gotta
die.
slow down.
This is a
Yeah,
quick
it's
one. You,
Ryan
you
Gosling,
mentioned
he
the
gets
trains before. I've heard this theory that, like, okay, so if you're walking on a train and the train's going 300 miles, right? You're on a bullet train, and then you're walking along at, say, 4 miles an hour, an average sort of walking speed. I reckon you're going 304 miles an hour. And people go, no, you're not. You're still going the same as the train. But I am. I'm getting to the front of the train.
Oh, like in an airplane too.
Yeah. I believe I'm faster than the airplane then, but they tell me I'm not.
Yeah.
No, that is correct. You are going 304 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's
There you go.
I've had this debate because people go, but when you jump, the train doesn't like go underneath your feet. I understand that. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not stupid. I'm just saying that I move faster than a train.
Yeah, that's true. When you're in an airplane, you're walking from the bathroom from the back,
Yeah.
500 and Okay.
I'm killing it. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Life can be overwhelming. Life can get you down. And many people are burnt out without even knowing it. Well, ignorance is bliss. But you probably shouldn't look into that then. No, you can. Life can really get to you. Symptoms can include lack of motivation, irritability, fatigue, and more. We associate burnout with work, but that's not the only cause. Any of our roles in life can lead to burnout. BetterLine online therapy.
BetterHelp.
BetterHelp. Yeah, BetterHelp online therapy wants to remind you to prioritize yourself. Talking to someone can help you figure out what's causing stress in your life. Now, I've had, just coming off the road as well, I'm feeling a little bit down and everything. I talked to my therapist.
Being tired
Being
really
tired,
contributes
having
to
a baby, being an old dad, the fears about that. I've been talking about that, so I find just a problem shared is a problem halved, and that makes you feel a little bit uplifted at the end. I feel much better after a therapy session. And every now and again, I stop doing them thinking, I'm okay, and all that kind of stuff. And I always go back. I'm like, oh, no, I need this in my life.
Can't quit you.
I look at it the same as working out in the gym. I don't do it all the time, but I should. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Our listeners get 10% off at their first month at betterhelp.com/IDK. That's better, HELP.com/IDK.
What is propulsion? Jim said, how much you go up?
No.
You want to rethink that 6.5 points? All right.
Well, propulsion is more about, it's honestly just the engineering of how you can make force to make something go up. And that can happen a lot of ways. I mean, propulsion isn't just like rocket engines. It's also airplane propellers and jet engines. That's also in the realm of propulsion.
Okay, so I'm acting like I understand what you're saying, but so you're saying that we have to get to a certain speed to be able to get into outer space. Does the gravity get more aggressive as we go up? Because why can't a helicopter just gradually go up and gradually go up and gradually in space?
Well, that's a great. So that goes back to how do rockets actually stay in orbit, and this actually goes back to a thought experiment that Newton had. And if you were to have a cannon sitting on top of a mountain, and you fire the cannon say really slow, it just kind of comes out and falls on the ground like you expect. But the Earth is actually curved, so you can fire this cannon fast enough that by the time it tries to reach the ground, the Earth has already curved away from it, and it'll just fall perpetually. Forever in a circle. Whoa. And that is what orbit is. It's just going fast enough where the Earth curves away from you by the time you reach it.
Okay, so I think I've been telling my son some bullshit, right? So when you're flying, say I'm flying from Sydney to LA, the flight's shorter than LA to Sydney. It's longer that way. And people say it's jet streams. But isn't it just that I'm flying against the spin of the Earth, so I cut off an hour?
I've thought this too, and I've wondered this. Sometimes that is true, but I've actually had some of my flights where I'm flying with against the spin of the Earth, where it's actually longer, and it is more dictated by the jet streams than it is by the spin of the Earth. But it is an effect.
Are we going against the spin of the Earth, or we always stay in that atmosphere flying?
I think it's the same reason if you jump in an airplane, you don't go flying back because it's still in the Earth, but the winds are dictating it.
But I told my son this with a lot of confidence. Okay. But there's a rocket scientist, and he's not quite sure. But then they say it's jet streams or something.
You need a meteorologist in for the jet stream stuff.
Yeah. Why can't I just jump and the Earth moves underneath me and I land back down? And that's
you keep jumping until
I get a face.
Well, because when you jump initially, you still have the same velocity.
I know the bloody. Why am I when the world's spinning? Why am I going woo? How fast are we spinning?
24 hours a day,
Yeah, no, but how fast is it? It's starting 1,000 miles an hour or something.
It's fast, I know that. But wait, so
it depends on where you're at too, right? You're spin faster at the equator than you are at the poles. At the poles, it's zero.
Oh, the poles aren't spinning at all, man. Yeah. Oh, that's why Santa's never dizzy.
which actually helps you when you're trying to launch a rocket. It is always better to be one, close to the equator, and two, launching to the east, because you have the fastest. You have all that speed at the equator from the Earth spinning, and when you launch to the east, you have that velocity added to you from the Earth spin. It's a lot harder and it requires a lot more fuel if you try to launch to the west, because you have to cancel out that velocity of the Earth first before you can start working towards getting to orbit.
So that's why we
Wow.
launch rockets in Florida. Then.
I
Yeah,
never
it's
because
one
of
close
the
to
ocean.
the equator, and
That
it's
makes
going to
so
the
much
east.
You went over the
Wow.
ocean away from people. Okay.
And when you launch from the west, every time we launch from the west, we're almost never going in around the equator. We actually go above and over the poles, because it's easy to do that than it is to try and like cancel out the Earth's velocity.
So what would be the perfect place, like an island on the equator or something like that? Or-
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's pretty much it.
That's the dream.
So when you said this about the orbit, like it's going fast enough to just keep falling. What's that speed it has to be at? Like
That's about 17,000 miles an hour in order to do that.
so to be in orbit, you're going 17,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, and it gets tricky, because when you're close to the Earth, you actually have to be going faster than if you're farther away, and it's not because of gravity, really. It's more about if you're so far away from the curvature of the Earth, you don't have to go quite as fast in order to miss it, because you're so far away from it. That's why for example, the ISS is going much faster than the moon, because the ISS will go around the Earth 90 minutes and one rotation, but the moon takes 27 days.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
the farther are you away, the slower you can go for an orbital period. An orbital period is how long it takes for you to complete one orbit.
Have you ever worked for one of the billionaires?
No, I've worked for NASA, and I've interacted with those companies, but I've not worked for them.
Interactive.
Now, why do you think the billionaires want to go up? Now, I know there might be a future job potential thing, so you wouldn't want to. I think it's because there comes a point when you have money when you go, I've got everything I want. I don't want any more things. And so you start buying experiences. That's the next thing you do with your money. I'll do things that are experiences, because you run out of possessions, worldly goods. And so I reckon that's why billionaires do this, because they're like, all right, I want an experience that only I can afford.
Yeah, it's probably more just to say that they did it, like
Yeah.
less about even the experience.
Oh, it's
more
even-
like I got to do this
One
thing
out
that
of
nobody
how many
gets to do.
It's
people.
like
Yeah.
if you pay for 6 or 7 prostitutes at once, it's because you can,
right.
not because it's more fun than
Not
2
because you
prostitutes.
need to.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
It's just so you go, all right, I've done that. I haven't, not 6. That's silly.
That's too many.
Anyway, I'm not that rich.
Okay. So
5.
what are propellants? The fuel that goes into the engine, and are they liquid or solid? Jim said liquid.
So trick question is actually both. You can have a solid, you can have a solid or a liquid propellant, and
Kinda like
there's
your
so many
poops.
different kinds.
Because the originals were solid. You said the fireworks, right?
Yeah, the fireworks those were solids. We started out with solids for a while before we moved into liquids, but you get so much more efficiency and thrust out of the liquids than you do out of the solids.
When you have a young new person work for you, what idea do they always come in with, and you roll your eyes like, oh God, he's going
The
to
rookie rocket
Yeah, he's going to
scientist.
come in with graphite tips again. Fuck it, hell.
They
I've
wanna-
heard this. They
they
don't
wanna
work. They
change the
fall
world.
off. They can't handle the cold.
I hear two that are pretty common. One is the gravity elevator. So you have an elevator that'll take you up into space.
Oh,
You have a
good
really
Lord.
really long tether. I hear that one a lot, and that one's like,
Oh, make the gravity elevator. So it's just a great big tube that goes up, and then you get on there, and there's an old person on a chair with
That
a stool
sounds
going,
horrifying.
what floor? Space?
The new Tower of Terror.
Sounds horrifying.
From space.
Yeah, it'd be good, man. You go straight up into space, and then you see it, and you make it like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory in the glass elevator. When at the end, when they're all floating around and all that type of stuff, always creepy. Why were the grandparents? Why was that old cunt in Charlie in the Chocolate Factory going, I can't walk. Oh, there's a good activity today. Oh, I can walk. What a fucking sneaky prick. But besides that, the gravity elevator. So am I right? A big tube. This is your idea that you brought to us, right?
No, he said this was.
I know.
Yeah.
Big tube that goes up into the sky. So you would get on it, and then you would just go up into space, and then you come back down.
Yeah, you make it long enough so that the orbit at the very end of it, the orbit actually matches the rotation of the Earth, so you can basically go straight into.
But then you
orbit.
just come
Not
back
just going up and
down.
up.
That's someone that had worked at a bank right before they got to the rocket.
Tell me-
launch. They're
tell
like,
me
you know
if-
those tubes at the bank.
Tell me if this is possible. I've heard this theory a lot that, so we have like flying from LA to Sydney is 14 hours, right? But if you fly up into space and then you fly straight back down, we can do it in like an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah. So how far away
Maybe
from
less.
how are we far away from that? Because then I'll never retire from doing stand up. If I can do that, just in the air, straight back down, I'll gig in any city you want.
Yeah, that's true. Because even like
SpaceX
when
has proposed it,
Oh,
and
really?
they've got a few renderings of them trying to pitch to be able to use rockets to do that. He landed on like these sea barges. I think what's more likely to happen first before you see rockets taking people from place to place is probably more like something called hypersonic or supersonic commercial air aviation.
They're bringing back like
Just
the
like planes
Concorde
that go
type of ones,
faster.
right? Yeah, the Concorde-y type planes. They're talking about that again,
5
right?
times the speed of sound.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good.
But see, that's the problem. He was saying they would land on a sea barge. So even though you get there quicker, then you'd be on a sea barge. You got to take a ferry.
No, but they'll get the landing technology better. They'll figure that
Yeah,
out. They'll figure
maybe.
that out. Southwest will know what to do. Everyone, you'll be in your zone. Get on your rocket. But the thing is, because it's a rocket, you all have to be strapped facing upwards. So that fucking air stewardess is sliding down, trying to sell you scratchies.
Yeah, the drink cart goes swinging by. Kill somebody. What are the propellants that we use? The liquid ones. What are those generally? Like just
The most common ones that are used is going to be kerosene and liquid oxygen. That's probably the most common ones.
kerosene.
Yeah,
They
kerosene.
go old school.
Yeah.
We have a special name for it. We call it Rocket Propellant 1, RP1.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
the name we give
You
our
have-
special
You have it in
kerosene.
jerry cans out the back here. Yeah. It arrives in on a Jeep. You ever seen those Jeeps now where people have the jerry cans on the side, the fuel
Yeah.
cans? It's like, really, dickhead? Really? Yeah, you're in a place where I need 2 lots of fuel because I get so far out there.
So RP1 is kerosene and liquid oxygen.
Yeah. We liquefy the oxygen down so that we can carry more of it. And then we mix them together and throw them out the back end.
Okay. What is thrust? Jim said when you go up a gear, and then he made a mouth noise. What? There you go. Yeah.
So thrust is really just about taking mass and throwing it behind you. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be air. It can be rocket propellants. It can be weight balls. It doesn't
So
matter.
when you talk about sex and go, there's something like you read a romantic novel and they go, he thrust it into me. That's correct. It's mass coming in from behind you.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah.
By the book.
It is a thrust.
But you know what it is?
Yeah.
It's like when you're a swimming pool too, and you push the water. I was just gonna PG it up.
Yeah.
Like the sex
For the
room.
kids.
Yeah. We have 2 different podcasts.
Jim's like anal sex. Forrest is like when you're swimming in a pool.
when a
You
man
don't
kisses
do
her.
anal sex in a pool.
Oh.
Yeah,
No
I
sex in a
don't make that mistake 3 times.
Have you ever sat in like an office chair and your buddy also sits in like a rolly office chair and you push off from each other and you both go in the opposite directions?
Yeah, I have fun.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand.
That's a better
Yeah, I
analogy.
know what fun is.
Yeah.
So if you are the rocket,
I
your buddy
imagine
is
you
gonna-
and your mates do that all the time at the rocket thing. There's a lot of pushbacks in the chairs. I reckon that would be the way to go. I'd do it like Alex P. Keaton in Family Ties when he pushed away from the typewriter in the opening credits and he goes like this.
Oh.
Okay,
I
so
miss
if you
family
and your
time.
friend did that, what were you saying was the example?
Oh yeah, if you and your friends sit across from each other in rolling chairs and you both push off at the same time, both of you go in opposite directions. And in this case, you're the rocket, your friend is the rocket propellant. That's all we're doing is we're just throwing stuff out the back end. And if you throw something out behind you, you're going to go in the opposite direction.
Now, tell me if I'm wrong about this because I watched a couple of little spacey documentaries. Right, so the original rockets on the Challengers and that type of stuff, they were one and dones, right? They just landed in the ocean, they were over, or did you repurpose them?
So when NASA was using the space shuttle, they attempted to reuse the white boosters off the side of it. They tried to refurbish those, if I remember correctly, to reuse them. But for the most part, those big orange can and the 2 white sides were pretty much one and done. The space shuttle required, even the space shuttle itself required a lot of refurbishment in order to be reused. It wasn't very sustainable.
But
which is one of the reasons.
was it Bezos or Musk? One of theirs comes back down now, right? Shoots up.
Yeah,
and then,
Elon Musk can land the first stage of the rocket pretty much anywhere after it's launched, and they've reused them up to maybe 11 or 12 times now.
right.
Ask Jim what are payloads. He says what you get paid when you're a rocket scientist.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like that's so close because like that is how you make money. Payload is the thing you actually put in the rocket that goes to space, and the people who want to send stuff to space pay me to have a ride on my rocket, and that is what a payload is.
And what do people pay you to send into space? What are we sending into space these days?
Lots of satellites, a lot of satellites.
There's that new one like the Hubble telescope. They reckon they're getting the best images ever that came out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it was the James Webb Space Telescope.
Yeah.
That is a payload on a rocket.
Is that like light years ahead, or you know what I mean? Like people are raving about it, or is it just like Betamax versus VHS?
The James Webb Space Telescope is one of the best. It's the best telescope we have out there right now to look back in time. The astrophysicist guys have come up with a really great technology of looking in the infrared spectrum, which is, it's hot. It's like in the hot side of invisible light, and they look out into the far deep space and they can see back like close to the Big Bang.
Now,
which we didn't have before.
I've watched a lot of rocket launches on TV, on the news, and that type of stuff. Whenever it goes successfully, you all start high-fiving each other and hugging. In the movies, there's always a guy with a cigarette who sits there silently and just nods to himself.
Ed
right?
Harris.
Does that go on? And do you guys get fucked up drunk after a successful launch?
Yeah.
You should.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Movies are real.
Celebration.
And that's why we can't land them.
That's someone else's problem.
That's Monday's issue.
With the payloads, is there anyone that ever comes to you and they're like, "Hey, I got a package, but you can't ask what's in it"? And
It's
you're
like the
just
the missing
it's like a
ballots
draw-
from the
it's
2020
They're
election.
just floating.
Don't worry about
Yeah.
what's in it. Just put it in there.
Yeah, all those.
There are defense launches that are top secret that
Oh, yeah, that's
you can't
true.
know what it's for, but you know where it's supposed to go.
So you could be evil.
What's the weirdest thing that you've sent up into space that you're allowed to tell us about?
Man, I don't know weirdest, but I felt really bad. On our, we put some children's drawings on the first rocket we launched, and it blew up. And I felt really bad.
Look, I'll tell you what. Don't feel fucking bad about that. Don't feel bad about that. They bring them to you every fucking day, and they're all not fridge worthy. They're like some of them are good, and then other ones you're like, this one's not up to the scratch.
That's funny that if it was the parents were like, "Which ones do you want to send up? Send up the shitty ones." In case it blows up.
Oh no, my ex kept every single thing, every doodle that Hank ever fucking drew. I kept like 5 or 6 like sort of stellar ones.
Yeah.
You frame those.
He's
and
not
you're
bad
good.
drawer, my son. Yeah, he can draw all right. He draws animals real good.
What is an orbital period? Jim said once a month you got to put a towel down. I think that's wrong.
Yeah, underneath the rocket, so you can fuck it.
Oh my god.
An orbital period is how long it takes to complete one orbit around whatever you're orbiting. It can be the Earth, it can be the Moon, it can be the Sun. Like the Earth has an orbital period of 365 days around the Sun. The Moon has an orbital period of 27 days around the Earth. The ISS has a 90-minute orbital period around the Earth. So it's just how long it takes to complete one orbit.
What is the next big breakthrough that you're all working on now that you think is going to be a game changer?
Nuclear thermal propulsion.
Oh.
Tell us about it.
That's the exciting one. That is, so it sounds really spicy. How it works is instead of having a chemical reaction where you're burning, like, because what we typically do is when we have a rocket engine and you have this chamber, and then you insert the kerosene and liquid oxygen, and then it creates a big flame, and then you shove it out the back end through the nozzle. Instead of having combustion, the concept is to replace the combustion part with a nuclear reactor, and the nuclear reactor generates that heat. And then all you have to do is take hydrogen, run it through the nuclear reactor, absorb all that heat, and then put it into the nozzle and shove it out the back end.
Interesting.
So you get all the heat from the reactor instead of combustion.
And you're getting pushed back because of the word nuclear in there?
it is difficult to try and test nuclear things on Earth. Yeah. So
Because
the best.
like
Give
in
that a better
Australia, we
name.
should have nuclear energy because we have uranium, like tons and tons of it. People, and it's a clean sort of type of energy, but people are very resistant, and they'll stick with coal because they don't like that word. So why don't you just get rid of that word and call it like that's what I always thought about the vaccine. Just call it the COVID shot because the flu shot is a vaccine, but no one gets worried about it because it's just called the shot. So just don't call it the nuclear reaction thing. Call it the boom boom jet plane or something like that. You can toy around with names. You don't have to land on that.
can work
Boom
shop
boom
it.
jet works good.
Yeah, boom boom
Yeah.
jet.
Boom boom fuel.
Boom boom fuel.
Yeah. Boom boom boom. Boom boom propulsion.
There is a treaty that's kind of sitting around right now where our countries like, Russia, the US, China, we've all signed this treaty that says you can't test nukes in space. And under that umbrella also kind of encompasses this nuclear thermal propulsion concept too. So we can't even do that right now either. So we're
These
kind of
fucking
trying
treaties.
to change that.
Oh, they're so
Yeah.
bad to have a treaty.
Oh, I missed one. I said
They do more harm than good, the treaties.
I missed the question. When scientists are speaking about propulsion, what does the V stand for? V.
So there's it's velocity. You had it correct.
Oh, you got
Boom
it.
shakalaka. Give them what they want.
There's two velocities that we really care about when we're talking about like rockets. One of them is the velocity that the actual like gas is leaving the rocket engine. So like how fast is that really big, the flamey part going? That's one of the V's that we care about. The other V that's really important is the velocity change required when you're in space to go from point A to point B. That is the other big one.
Okay.
Do you guys have merch?
Merch.
Yeah, like do you have merchandise? Like
NASA does.
like
Yeah.
pictures. Yeah, NASA has rocket merch. And
You mean
all
with
that
the
stuff.
company he works for in
Yeah,
particular right
you
now?
have hats and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, man.
Firefly
That's how
Aerospace.
there was. We changed our website recently, but we should still have a merch store on there.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll
cool.
check it out.
Yeah, I like stuff like that.
We talked about how a rocket stays in orbit. Who is Leica? And you said the godfather of rocket propulsion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, but Laika was the first animal that was ever sent to space. The Russians sent
A chimp.
this dog.
A
Her
dog,
name was
yeah.
Laika into space, and she overheated and died
Oh no.
while
You don't
she
leave him
was
with
in
the
this-
windows done up. You don't leave him with the windows done up. That'll happen every time.
Yeah.
We know
The
that
dogs
now.
can't leave your
Attention
dog in the
there.
rock.
Well, that was the 60s. That's how it was.
Actually, this was like 1957.
That was
We-
1957. Elvis was in the
Yeah.
charts. It was a different time. He probably didn't even have a seatbelt.
Oh my god. Poor guy.
It
Seatbelts
took a
was.
while for them to send a person after that. It wasn't until like 1961 before they sent the first person into space.
Speaking of which,
Yuri Geller.
Oh,
No,
You're close. Yuri Gagarin.
Yuri Gagarin, that's his name.
Close
Yeah,
enough.
Close
Yuri
enough.
Geller's the guy who bent the spoon.
I went on your guys' website. I went on your guys' website to see if there's merch, but I did find that it just says book a ride. So we can just book a ride.
You can. If you have the money, you can book a ride.
How much is it?
How much to go into space?
I think we're selling them for like 12 million or 15 million.
You almost had me. Almost. I was
I thought you were
very.
going to say 12,000.
12,000? Yeah, let's do it.
12,000, yeah.
I'll give you. I'll
No, I
give
have
you
no
12
interest.
bucks. I'll give you 40. We barter.
12
We meet in the middle somewhere. I go low, you go high, and then we go back and forth.
Multiples of
Oh
12.
my god.
What are rockets made out of? Jim said not wood.
Not
Metal.
wood.
Rubber seals.
Not wood.
Yeah.
Funnily enough,
There
part
is
of the
a wood
Oh,
rocket.
God.
Yeah, and pretty much everyone uses this cork, and cork is wood. It's bark from a tree, but cork is used to insulate the rocket, and a lot of people use cork in order to insulate
Interesting.
rockets.
Doesn't burn up?
But rockets are actually made from lots of different stuff.
It's good to
been
leave
crazy.
Post-its on as well.
Like most of it's aluminum. A lot of the times people make rockets out of aluminum. Most recently, people have started making them out of carbon fiber and having no aluminum pretty much on the rocket body at all. Some of them use stainless steel, like SpaceX's new Starship rocket. And the engines will have like crazy materials like niobium and molybdenum and
I need
nickel.
copper. Copper. It's copper.
What's niobium?
Yeah, lots of copper. Most of the engines are are formed with copper on the inside, and then you put nickel on the outside.
And the rest is aluminium foil.
And vibranium.
Niobium sounds like a word you would make up if you didn't know the answer. Like, yeah, it's made out of niobium. You didn't know that? Idiot. So, in 1977, 2 identical space probes were launched, which are now the farthest away from Earth that man-made objects have ever gone. What are they called? Jim said Hubble and Bubble.
Hubble and Bubble.
Good gum.
It was Voyager 1 and Voyager 2.
You guys got to come up with better names, man.
I was not
Voyager,
even
and the
launched.
second one. Well, I'm not blaming you in particular, but Voyager 1, Voyager 2. We'll call it Voyager 2, The Return, or this time it's personal. Say something like that at the end.
A real sequel.
Yeah,
That's the name of the rocket.
Yeah, you
This
go
time it's
Voyager 2. You made me
Yeah, they're
mad.
sitting out in like interstellar space now. Not even inside of our solar system anymore.
Oh yeah.
With George Clooney.
I'm looking at your rockets. Pretty good. All right. I don't know. It just looks like a rocket, so it looks good. What is the difference between a rocket motor and a rocket engine? Jim said the engine involves moving parts. Motor is jet propulsion or something.
You know, I loved this answer because it was so close. A rocket motor we kind of classify as anything that's solid propellant, a solid only propellant engine, so it doesn't really have any moving parts. A rocket engine is usually when it involves liquids, and it does have moving parts when it's involving liquid propellant. So
Wow.
I thought that was a great
That's
answer.
why you got 6.5. That was the last
Good guess.
question, and you gave you
You did
6.5.
pretty
I
good.
think there.
I think
Yeah.
I did pretty good. In your offices, are there any mice doing anything?
Mice?
Like, yeah,
Like
you're,
with
you're
clipboards?
testing on one, or is there one that you're making
I think
go
that's
through
at
a
a
mate?
cubicle
I
work.
feel
I know,
like
I was like, just
I feel like
clipboards and
all
glasses.
scientists have a mice doing something.
Ratatouille.
Yeah. And there's
No,
one.
we
Is
don't
there,
do any animal testing.
you don't do any animal testing. Tell that to the fucking dog that died up in space.
That poor guy.
Like
I have a question. If somebody has $12 million and they go up in a rocket, how do they get back?
Very careful.
They
So you can actually wait
they
long
ransom
enough.
him another 12 mil.
Another 12. Yeah. What? So
You can wait long enough when you're in orbit. If you're close to the Earth, like if you're at like kind of like the ISS level, you can wait long enough, and there's actually enough air there. It's very little, but there is enough that after a long period of time, you could just fall back. But most of the time, we just fire some rocket engines to slow us down to get us to come back and hit the curvature of the Earth.
Do you have a pilot with you when you do that, or are the people upstairs? Like, if you take your bird up there, if you take a girl up there, can you turn off the camera and jiggy jiggy jiggy, or is it? Do you get any privacy? Is what I'm asking. Is there a curtain? Where do you poo?
On the ISS, there is privacy to sleep and to use the restroom. As far as NASA has said, no one has had private time.
Not even a solo. The bloke hasn't gone to knock one off in the bathroom and watch his cum all go just floating around.
Oh my God.
I remember there was a porn when I was a kid. It was with Sylvia Saint, right? She was one of my faves from Europe, and there was one in space, and it had an anti-gravity ejaculation. It was one of those ones where they fly the planes up and they drop
that'd
them
be
all
the
the time.
only reason to make that porn would be because
Yeah.
of that.
And the
So-
guy had to come because you only get like 10 seconds of that drop time where you have the no gravity. It looked awesome, man. It's well worth a watch, man.
Yeah, that would be the thing too. Would be like I guess if you're just going up in a rocket, you gotta use the bathroom before you go up. So
How many years of school do you have? How long did you go to college?
7.
And now you're talking about me
Too many.
ejaculating on planes. It's fucking, I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. I've brought the whole
This is a
conversation
low
down.
point.
okay, this is the part of the show called Dinner Party Facts. I ask our expert to give us one obscure, interesting fact our audience can use to impress people. What do you got, Calvin?
So I asked some of my friends this because I was looking for a really good one, and this is really interesting. One of my friends brought up: if you compare the weight of an empty soda can to the weight of a full soda can, and divide those two weights, you get the exact same number. If you were to divide the empty weight of the space shuttle tank to the full of propellant mass of the space shuttle tank. And it's an example of like how little and how massless the the
Oh,
actual
so
tank of the spaceship
most of
is.
it's fuel in there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
all the weight is fuel.
Okay, got
All
it.
the way
got
to
it,
fuel.
got it.
It's got to be so thin then, just the wall of the
It
it's just
is.
like, yeah, because even the soda can, so that's so light once you drink all the soda. And
You
then
could like
it's-
shotgun a rocket.
wow.
No.
Pop
no,
it in
Yeah,
pop it in
Kelly.
the key.
Yeah.
It's got to be really thin.
Kelly.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. It's uncalled for.
You were talking about coming in space.
No, Kelly,
It was
no.
It was respectfully done.
No,
Respect.
I'm known for these things. You're better than this.
Oh.
All right, Calvin. Well, thanks.
Oh.
Arnie's going to console him. You can find Calvin on Twitter at Cal D Phillips Jr. CALDPHILLIPS JR. If you want to get a ride on a rocket, $12 million. Sign up on the website.
Love it.
Is there anything else you want to promote or say, Calvin? Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I appreciated it. Love rockets, and I spend all day thinking about rocket propulsion, so it's fun to talk about it.
Ah, Calvin, you're a good sport, mate.
Aw.
Thanks for being on the podcast. We learned stuff. Sometimes on this podcast, people tell us stuff and we act like we were taking it in. We don't take any of it in. And I took several of these moments in. I know
Yeah.
more about rockets now than I ever did before. So, Calvin Phillips, thank you very much for that. If you're ever at a party and someone comes up to you and goes, I reckon this Coke can weighs more than a rocket. Yeah, I don't know about that. And walk
What?
away.
Yeah, you didn't learn anything.
Yeah, I didn't learn anything. Good night, Australia.